Alright, so the reason I'm doing this video is I was working with a kid last week, and he's a very good little mini rider, really fast kid, and I asked him what he thought one of his main problems was, and he said it was his elbows, and he said a lot of people criticize him about his elbows. So we worked on technique and form for about a day, and his elbows just still weren't where they needed to be. It really looked like he was trying to force his form to put his elbows up. So I took his bar pad off and I looked at his handlebars, and he was running CR high bars, which are an adult bend, adult width with a lot of sweep. And so this was really amplified on his 80. And what I found was I got some regular KTM mini bars and I put them on, and it instantly fixed his elbows and his arm position. So I'm going to go over why you might want a certain bend, certain width, certain sweep on handlebars, and why that's important for your form and technique. Alright, so today I'm going to talk about handlebars. Something that's kind of overlooked with riders always practicing their technique, trying to figure out, what they do wrong, and they'll see pictures of themselves with their elbows down. Well, it simply might be that you just have a improper bar setup for your height. Throughout the years, I always ran a CR high bend because I'm a 6 foot tall rider, and I always thought like a taller bar is better, but what I wasn't paying attention to was the sweep of the bars. And the reason you want to pay so much attention to the sweep of the bars is taller guys like me, we don't want a lot of sweep. So if you think about it, if you the more you turn your hands, rotate them back outward, the more your elbows go down. So if you're a tall guy and you get a CR high bend bar, yeah, it's taller, but it has a ton of sweep to it. So for me personally, I like going with a taller bar with a minimal amount of sweep. And that I run the old style KTM bend and the SX race bend. The KTM bend from Mika is about 10 millimeters taller, I believe, than the SX race bend. So it's better for a taller guy like me that wants less sweep in the bars. Just because they're saying, oh, this bar bend works great on a Husky, well, how's that bar bend going to work great on a Husky for a 6'2" guy and a 5'2" guy? It's not. You have to pick the proper bar based on your height and the zone the rider's sitting in. So your rider compartment. So for me, I like the SX race bend. I just started running the KTM race bend, and that one seems to be actually a little bit better. It's a little taller, a little less sweep. The times you might want to run like a CR high bend is if you're actually a shorter rider and the rider compartment's feeling cramped. So the sweep, to me, you would want more sweep if you have shorter arms and you're not that tall of a guy. You're going to want more sweep. And then also you have to consider width. So these ones are, I believe, 805 millimeters, but some of the bars, like I think the KTM is like over 810. I think it's a 811. That's the current KTM bend. Those bars have a lot of width, so the same thing applies to width too. The more width you have, you can see what happens to your elbows. The elbows start to come in. The less width you have, the more they start to rock up. The times you want more width is if you want more stability in your front end. If you're suffering from maybe a lot of head shake or the front end's super twitchy on you, maybe add a little bit of width to your bars. But personally, I like to stay at about 800, 805, below 810. But one thing to consider is your sweep. If you have a lot of pictures of you with your elbows down and you don't know why, and you're running a CR high or some other bend that has a ton of sweep in it, that's going to automatically force your elbows down. So like I said, the more your hands rotate outward, the more your elbows go down. The less sweep you have, the more your elbows go up. Okay, so if any of you have any pants that look like these, looks like a gerbil got to them, it's because your bar is most likely too low and you're hitting your controls, your kill switch, your clutch perch, your brake perch, and you're shredding your knees up. I know if I run the standard stock bars, I'm constantly doing this in corners, and if I run a taller bar, my pants stay and look new for the most part. So if you have shredded up elastic on the knees, think about maybe getting a little taller bar bend so you're not racking your knees on the handlebars, and this typically happens to taller people.